So in your experience, is the banks are trying to learn from each other, or they're still pretty independent of their own process, or how do you see that's going?
I always have the impression that when we say, look, these are some references that we have, that they're more interested in non-banks than banks. I think they don't trust each other as much as they trust, a huge global retailer that can point exactly to a supplier and say, this is your quality of data that you send us, So, and I don't blame them there. Maybe that will change over time, of course.
How do you see in the smaller banks, and do they?
I think it depends on the size of the smaller bank. If they're approaching that CCAR limit, in that 40, 45 range, you tend to see that there's more of an urgency that they want to drive that. When they're below that range and they really are just kind of starting to put their foot into the pond, if you will, for getting into CCAR because they know they are going to expand their assets to hit that point, they're, I would say, almost in an exploratory mode and looking for alternative reasons as well to also bring in governance to the organization. So they tend to be a little bit more on you need to educate them on what the tool can do to enable governance and then ultimately address all of your CCAR problems. Because of the size of those organizations in a lot of cases, they tend to still believe they can handle it with manual Excel, Visio, and an ETL tool.
I was surprised to see is also in Europe how little there is at some of the regional banks, where it's just plain databases, no management stack of data whatsoever, no data quality, nothing. More than once we see that.
I actually, around CCAR, I think I've had maybe a little bit different experience to Koen, which is there's a lot of interest in how other banks are addressing CCAR. What kind of MRAs did other institutions get? How are they resolving the data governance issues? How are they how are they addressing the forecasting issues? How are they addressing model data issues? And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for there are already forums and roundtables where they can come together and share some of that type of information. And part of what we're building in Collibra is some of that collective knowledge that we've learned working with institutions to build that in as an accelerator and help clients more quickly be BCBS compliant for CCAR.
I think that's not to be underestimated. We talk about the platform of Collibra, but the community around it, where you bring people together, banks and non-banks, that's huge, right? A lot of these people are new in their roles. To be able to learn from each other, that's absolutely massive.
So the one thing that Sam mentioned, education is very important, and the bigger banks, they're huge in size, and getting the education programs, change management and education is a huge impact. So how do you see, are they investing in a lot in educating the people about the BCBS and CCAR and the impacts on all those things and how they can help them each other?
I think it depends how you define a lot. So there's definitely a lot of awareness. I think you got to recognize that in a lot of these institutions there's a lot of regulatory fatigue. So it's educate, but only tell me what I need to know. I don't have the time to sit for 6 hours to learn everything there is to know about CCAR if I don't need to know it. So if my role requires that you need this data on this day with these quality standards, and this is what you're going to use it for, just tell me that and I'll send it to you. And if there's change management I need to know about, tell me what those are, and then if I have a change, I'll know to alert you. But I think it's recognizing who needs to have the overall awareness versus who just needs to know, what does this mean for me? Tell me what you need when you need it and I'll get it done for you. Because everyone's really busy, so they don't have time necessarily to learn all the nuance.
I think you raised an interesting point, because I did have a couple of prospects ask about this as well, and it branches out a little bit past CCAR and BCBS, but what they were looking to do as well is take Collibra, when they hear about how we could track BCBS policies, principles, our progression with those, data quality levels or quality scores and issue management, and they were actually now starting to ask, as part, besides supporting CCAR or BCBS, also can this tool be leveraged and integrated with my training platforms to ensure that the proper folks who need to be educated on BCBS and CCAR are educated, what's their progression in the education, what are the steps that they have to take as well. So there's also a turn to use it more towards the, gauging the maturity of the organization's associates that are supporting those things as well.